Hello and welcome to Samuel's Thoughts from the Road, episode number 1. This is a new video podcast. Hopefully it'll last for some time. The plan at this stage is that occasionally when I'm on the road and I have a thing or two to say, rather than waiting around and then never getting around to write about it, I'll just say it and then post it for you all to enjoy. Well, the first thing we're going to discuss is about this proposed ban on the use of mobile phones in cars. Not just handheld phones, which are already banned, but phones altogether. Now, I assume this only applies to the driver. It'd be fairly silly for it to apply to passengers as well, but you never know with governments. They do have some funny ideas from time to time. The idea seems to be that drivers will be banned from using mobile phones at all while they're on the road. This idea is not a new one, but it's been backed by some new research which claims that, well, it pretty much contradicts every other bit of research we've ever had on the subject. The new research is claiming that using a phone at all when you're on the road is just as dangerous as any other form of using a phone on the road. So handheld phones are just as dangerous as hands-free, etc., etc. Utter nonsense like that. As I said, it contradicts every other study that's ever been done on the subject. Basically, the idea is they would completely ban the use of phones by drivers in cars. Well, we've been around this merry-go-round before. Why they want to do this, I don't really know. Obviously, it's a claim that they're doing something for road safety. Really, that's probably what it is. It's just another claim that the officials are doing something about road safety, being seen to do something about road safety, when, in fact, they're not really doing anything about road safety whatsoever. Realistically, all they're achieving by doing this is angering people, which they're very, very good at. Very good at indeed. So they get seen to be doing something about road safety, and then at the same time can collect money from people who will thwart the rules. It will happen. It happens with handheld phones. It happens with texting while driving. It will continue to happen. It's pretty simple. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, this is being recorded on a phone. Funny that. The phone is docked, it's in a hands-free mode, but having a little bit of issue with the stand for it here. It seems to be wobbling a little bit, but anyway. This, I can see, if it gets in, it'll be extended to other acts on the road as well. I can see it being extended to the use of radios in cars, not two-way radios, although they'll probably get banned as well. No, I mean normal broadcast radio. The thing that people talk on and play music on as ads. That I can see getting banned. Because, if from all the research, all the credible research, not this last bit of research, but all the credible research claims that it's the act of listening, not the act of talking, which is the problem. By listening, you have to concentrate on the words, and that apparently distracts you from concentrating on the road. So conversations in cars could be banned as well. Cones of silence around people could be enforced here. Maybe. I don't know that they'll go down the path of making you pay to retrofit your vehicle with a cone of silence for every occupant of the vehicle, but you never know, it could happen. It's not completely out of the realm of possibilities. But I can see this being used to shut down talk radio in particular. Now, why talk radio in particular? Well, this has been tried in the US a few times. They tried it recently under the guise of the so-called fairness doctrine, which all it really would have done would have been to force successful talk radio stations to alter their lineups and have less conservative talk shows, despite the fact that left-wing talk in a commercial format's never really worked in the US. NPR exists, it rates reasonably well in some markets, and it's fairly left-leaning. But commercial talk radio is the only one that's really worked well. Conservative talk radio, rather, is really the only one that's really worked well in a commercial setting. Liberal, as they would call it, left-wing radio has been tried, doesn't really work over there in a commercial setting. But the fairness doctrine, which seems to have been scrapped for now, but if it were to be brought in, would pretty much force broadcasters to mix up their lineup, have conservatives and non-conservatives. The trouble with that being that the non-conservative stuff wouldn't rate, and so other stations, of course, would put other programs on, conservative programs, in those time slots to catch the ratings. So therefore there wouldn't be advertising, or there wouldn't be the attractiveness in the advertising on the commercial stations during the left-wing shows. So pretty much talk would become an unprofitable format. Already the margins in some markets are pretty slim, hence why there's not a lot of local talk over there. Not as much as we have here, you would have to say, but that would pretty much spell the end of talk radio in many ways, which would be a great thing for the left-wing people in government if they would get their way. I can see the same thing being planned here. Why talk radio though? Why not all radio? Well, which one do you listen to intently? Which one is marketed as front-of-mind radio, the one that grabs your attention, holds your attention, unlike music radio where you can sort of tune out a bit during the music, during some of the inane banter. In fact, a lot of people turn off the inane banter. You can turn that off without too much of a hassle. The thing with talk radio is that it is a front-of-mind thing. You are concentrating on that. What I find when I listen to talk radio in the car is that I do concentrate on the discussion, but my mind wanders off the discussion back to the driving when something is happening that takes more of my attention than what I was giving it. I can quite easily concentrate on both the radio and the driving without a problem. It's just when something slightly more complex happens on the road, like someone cutting me off or something like that, that suddenly, I forget what happened on the radio. I'm not really paying attention to the radio. I divert that bit of my attention back to the road. Anyway, there was a study in the US. Didn't get a lot of attention last year, which surprised me because it did happen around the time that this whole fairness doctrine debate was just starting to peter out. It was a study which said that listening to an engaging sport commentary distracts you from the road just as much as using a handheld phone. I would have expected this to get a lot of coverage because, well, you think about that, the implications of that are very obvious. Talk radio is front of mind radio, as is sports radio. So it's obvious that the next logical step in that is that listening to an engaging conversation on the radio is just as attention-grabbing. And then when you take that the next step, once you've banned talk radio, well, you have to ban music radio in the car as well, because they talk on music radio, and, well, the music might be engaging as well. In fact, the same thing will be done with iPods eventually on footpaths. There's already calls to ban people from using iPods when they're crossing roads, walking down streets, because they can't hear their surroundings. Funnily enough, it's not illegal to use an iPod with headphones in while driving a car. You can't hear your surroundings very well, but it's not illegal. But you can see that being banned as well. What are we getting here? Are we getting an increase in safety, or are we getting the nanny state? Well, we're getting the nanny state, without a doubt. No doubt whatsoever about that. And why do I say we're getting the nanny state here? Because none of this really helps with safety. If people are watching where they're going when using an iPod, they're not going to get hit. And common sense tells you that's what they should be doing. If people are paying attention to the road when they're using a handheld phone, which the vast majority of people using that hands-free phone, using a hands-free phone, that's fine. Handheld phones I have a problem with. Obviously it takes your hand away from driving, but hands-free phones, it's not really a problem. It's no more dangerous than a conversation in the car, and that's not dangerous. I'm at a traffic light, so that's all from me. See you later.